Woo-hoo. Hey, what's up, YouTube? Welcome to Play It Pain Live. I hear my kid crying. This could be bad. It's part of the reason why we're starting late, and part of the reason why we're kind of in a little disarray. Trying to get the kid to sleep. I thought I had him asleep about maybe 10 minutes ago, but now I can hear him. Hopefully, Mom has it under control. If not, we're going to have to cut off the feed here and just kind of call it a night here. So I'll show you what I'm working on, and I guess we'll kind of go from there. Kind of a low-key night, and titled this show "One Bad Review." It's a specific gripe I have right now, and we'll go into that in a minute. But first, I'm going to bitch about something else. Okay, so get ready for the salt tonight. Going to be some complaining, assuming I stay on. But let's see. So tonight I'm working on this fisherman commission for Guild Ball. So here's some of the miniatures for the fisherman team, and they look pretty good. You can see, big fan of the sculpts. That part of this gripe I don't have an issue with. I've been wanting to paint some fish. I didn't know if I necessarily wanted to own a fish team, and that's kind of why this commission should work out for me. That said, I do have a couple of complaints here, and these are, again, first world problems. Just my little gripe here to gamers that want people like me to paint stuff for them. Okay, so as a miniature gamer, as primarily a miniature gamer, a lot of miniature gamers aren't painters or hobbyists, and there's nothing wrong with that, and that's fine. And they want to get their stuff together. They break it out of the package, and then they want to they break it out and they want to play it immediately. They want to put it on the field, and to me, that's where some hard choices are made. And living for the now can sometimes cause a little bit of headache later. And let me explain where I'm going with this. Just make sure my feed is working. There we go. Okay. So when you break stuff out of the package, especially metal models, and you're in a rush to play it, you're going to make two rather large mistakes from the hobbyist perspective. Okay, you're going to break the model out and glue it into the slotted base using the metal tab at the bottom of the model. Okay, and that is that's by design. That's a very strong connection when you add super glue to it. That's gonna be very difficult to back out of once you do make that decision. So what's going to happen is if you go back and you buy a set of bases, you buy custom bases or something, and then you want to paint it, then you suddenly have to get them out of the bases. Okay, so you end up basically thrashing the old bases that you were in such a rush to get it on the board to paint. So you end up with just having to break these just to get your model back out. Then you have to clip them off the tab. That's where more issues come into place. And let me show you that. So here's Sakana, and he looks okay. You can see, now that he's out, he's on the base. But let me zoom in here. Let's see if we can actually see what's going on. So here's, I don't know if it's going to show. It may not show. It's because it's just bright metal. You can see there, that's his right foot, and his right foot's totally intact. The left foot, however, my left foot, we had an issue with, because we had to do this to him, and when we did that, when we broke him out and he popped off of the base, he was only attached by his toes, his little toes there, and they didn't come out in one piece on the left side. So it's a bit of a mess. I did my best to try to put it back together, but it's not, it's not 100% there. I'm gonna have to paint around that. It's a shame, really. It's cool that he has, such fine detail on his toes, but again, when you go with the tab and you throw the tab in, and you're like, I gotta play it, and you put it on the board and you run around with it, then you go and ask somebody to come back and put it on a custom base. You can have issues like that, especially with a model. You can see here on the side that he's on his tiptoes, right? So that's an issue. The next issue is pinning, okay? Gamers that want to get their minis on the board immediately aren't going to stop to pin their miniatures. Now, I've gamed for a good 12 to 15 years before I even knew what pinning was, before I even bothered with it. And so, I'd break my old pieces out, metal pieces, 40K pieces, and you'd game with them. And then, and mine were painted, and then you break an arm off, and then you try to put it back on, you glue it back on. Okay, it's fine that one for that day. Then you break it out again. Same arm breaks off again. You're at the store, so you don't really do a good job cleaning off the old paint, the old glue. So you just re-glue it again and again and again. Before you know it, you got a big gap between parts there. That's old, crusty, dry glue, and you're struggling to hold it together. And so that's kind of the gamer experience with metal miniatures, especially miniatures that haven't been pinned. And that's what I see a lot too with these is when you don't pin them, you run into issues. So with these particular models, I had to go back and pin all of the loose limbs. Now, disclosure here, I didn't pin Shark. I didn't. And I'm not going to unless his arm pops off. If this were my model, that would really upset me, because I try to pin everything. And I know it's preachy, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do that for this particular client, because I did a lot of reconstructive work here to make these bases retrofit and make sure everything was okay. But again, I'm doing my little preachy thing here and saying, gamers, I understand you want to get your models on the board, but understand that you are potentially making a sacrifice, or you're going to make it really hard for that dude that's charging, basically nothing. Well, that's charging what, in my opinion, really reasonable prices to paint these, to go back and retrofit. So lesson learned there. Lesson for me is I'm probably, the next time somebody wants me to paint their stuff and it's already assembled, I'm just going to tell them, hey, I have no liability for, if you want me to go back and refit stuff, I'm not going to do that. It's not, or if I am, I'm going to charge you more, because it's harder to deal with miniatures that have been built to go back and pin and, clean up and position than it is to just break them brand new out of the package and do that. So either, I guess in my opinion, what I need to do is I need to say, okay, they either need to be fully assembled or fully disassembled. I can't have, I can't do this. Yeah, it's and then I didn't get enough bases to do the whole set. So like Grayscale's here, I threw one of my own MDF crowns on it to get it to work. Matched it with the gold ball, because I can't do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to paint a miniature. Like, I'm not even the ball. And I'm not like surcharging anybody for this. It's just, that's my own personal thing. I'm not going to just paint a ball on a plain black base like that. It's horrifying to me. I wouldn't like, why waste the time to do something like that? But this is just bad, guys. That's got to go. You can't. North side, what's up, Adam? Adam, I don't know if you deal with this or not, but yeah, this has got to stop. Like, I can't. I'm not taking. I'm not doing jobs like this anymore, where you have to just like rip bases apart and then replace them yourself. I mean, these are my bases. Like, here's salt. And luckily I found an old what is this, Forgecraft base crown. And I think it looks kind of cool actually with him on there. So there's the otter. I don't know how much painting I'm going to do tonight, because this is bothering me, this toe situation here. But I guess what I can do is I guess I can prime these and at least start on, some of the common colors, the organic white, and we'll just take it from there. Okay. So that's one of my gripes for tonight, guys. Gamers, please, please, please understand, when you put your shit together in a hurry to get it on the board, you are making some sacrifices. You are potentially making sacrifices, or you're just going to make it really annoying for the guy that has to go back, retrofit stuff, and paint it. Okay. Yep. There's my whiny bit for the night, or at least part one of the whiny bit. We're probably doing 2 whiny bits. We're gonna prime, and we're gonna get going. I'm gonna get this extra crud off my table. What are you working on, Adam? Oh, shoot. I'm going to see if, well, I'm going to prime these, and then I'll see if Mark wants to hop on. Tonight we're having Thin Mints because Girl Scouts were by. So cheers there. Then we're going to prime these, and then I'm going to bitch about Ninja All-Stars. Not the game, but about what's going on around the game at the moment with the gaming, quote-unquote, media. Because, it's one of those weeks, man. It's been just in a mood. It's just kind of a bad thing. Charge for that shit first off, and I'm painting Realm Gates. Cool. Yeah. No, I agree, Adam. That was just me being nice. You do commissions for your friends, and you're like, okay, I'll work around you, but I'm not doing that anymore. It's just not gonna work. Let me make sure that isn't my wife begging for help here. Oh wait, it might be. Wow, that was kind of rough. That was a text from Jose. All right. Anywho, let's get to work. I don't know how much actual painting will get done tonight, but that's okay. We're just gonna have the camera on. I'm gonna show you guys what we're doing. So yeah, last night picked these up and brought them home, broke them off of their bases, and then reassembled it. And in defense of the guy, he doesn't hobby, he doesn't model, he doesn't understand like how annoying that is to have to go back and undo some mistakes and throw, I don't know, how many pins do I have on? I have at least a dozen pins on these models, and they're not even all fully pinned. There's a bunch of limbs and stuff that aren't pinned that I would have pinned were they my miniatures. But then again, I am kind of a pinning freak. So, all right. Get some primer on these bad boys. Kind of take it from there. All right. Realm gates, huh? Sounds interesting. Let's see how the new microphone does with my my airbrush compressor. Are they going to be friends? Are they going to be enemies? We don't know. Dang, where's... Oh, there it is. Let's do this. Piece down there. Hello, hey, what's up, Demon Jester J? Welcome to the show. Just about to do a little bit of priming on this Guild Ball Fisherman team. After I'm done bitching about having to disassemble them, reassemble them, busting toes, and all that good stuff. All right. Let's get some primer on these bad boys. They are really nice models, though. I'm a big fan of the Guild Ball models. So, all right, come on closer. Let's prime Mr. Otter. So when I'm priming, thin layer followed by a fuller coat. You like the bases? These are Malifaux Victorian street bases. They're cobblestone bases. They're nice bases. I would have went with like plank bases. I'll show you an example of that. Demon Jester, go to bed. Why does he need to go to bed? These are nice bases. I must have painted, from my old Malifaux career, I must have painted like 24 of those because I used to use those quite a bit. The Guild Ball. Looks like I'm going to have to reload primer. Greenleaf, why do you want me to go to bed? I love this model, Kraken. Pretty awesome. I'm actually going to have to reload a primer. And so I'm done priming the top of Kraken here. Okay. Keep it moving. All right. 4 to go. Hey, what's up, Tori? I need to start painting my bolt action stuff. What are you playing in bolt action, Adam? Bolt action is a game that I have loved from afar. I'm afraid to get close to because I know I will love that game if I ever got into it. So I keep my distance because I got to play my other stuff. It's 1 a.m., but I'm not tired at all. My little girl was sick all day. We had to take her to the doctor. Just had the flu and chicken pox. Oh, that sucks. Sorry to hear that, buddy. Hope the little girl gets well soon. This is Jack, I believe. He's got the cool little man catcher here. He's like, hey, what do you want from me? I like his little, like, insulting hand there. The creative sculptor in me wants to bend back that fourth finger, obviously. These models are a bit busier than the alchemists or the masons that I've painted. U.S. Airborne, a couple of German armies, and I have a little bit of partisans. See, I would play Japanese for sure. They don't have Philippine militia, but this is a great model. Absolutely love this model. Angel. This is like the whole reason why I wanted to play Fisherman. I think this is like one of my favorite models in the whole Guild Ball range. Luckily, I get to just paint her. I don't have to own a third team. Now, part of the reason why I put grayscales on this base crown is he flat out would not fit on the Malifaux base crown. Here's Shark, the captain. He's a cool mini. So the plan is to get these models primed and then get a couple of initial colors working for them. You know, do any effects on the... although their blades are so small, I probably don't have to... airbrush their blades. I may actually... thinking of actually just doing regular metals on them. I hate regular metals, but regular metals may save me a little bit of time on these. And they may convey a little bit more of the sheen that I prefer. All right, so just a little bit of primer on the faces themselves. You don't need much, because you pretty much got it. Just hitting where my fingers held the model. As you can see, the primer dries so fast, so you just... it's really not taking that much work at all. Oh, just need a little spot of primer. Let's see. I wanted to get into Malifaux, but don't know what faction to start with. Yeah, I left Malifaux a while back, but my favorite faction in Malifaux was the Arcanists. I really liked... I like their aesthetic. I like their old lore. I don't really like where the new storylines have taken them, because I don't think they... I don't know. I think they somehow lost what they meant to me. Anyway. Especially Ramos. Loved Ramos. Love Colette. Cannot stand the new Colette or Ramos models. So sad. Those are like some of my favorite characters in miniature gaming, were like the original Colette and Ramos. Angel. Let's see. Tori says, painting some lizard men. Gonna try Age of Shadow soon. $85 gets you a small skirmish army. If I don't like the game, I got some cool looking minis. That's cool. Yeah, see, that actually sounds reasonable. $85 for a reasonable skirmish army, because that's like most games now. That's like the price for most games. If you want an army, it's gonna cost you between $80 and $100 usually. All right, just about done with the primer. So you guys were really, with this process, you guys are really part of the starting line here. I'm usually much further in when I show you guys stuff. All right, let's let those dry. I'm gonna clear out this first color, and then we're gonna pick the next colors. I'm not sure what that why was. Why don't I like them now? I'll answer that. Hold on one sec. This used to be a topic for much ire. It drew much ire out of me, but the wounds have healed. The divorce is over with Malifaux and me. So now Malifaux's like an old friend that I look back with reverence upon, but will not date anymore. Okay, so why? A lot of it had to do with the fluff and the art simultaneously that changed between first and second edition Malifaux. Ramos in particular. So Ramos was in first edition Malifaux. Ramos was, he was kind of like a terrorist or a criminal mastermind, however you wanted to put it. He was the lord. He was the lord of the caper. He was a brilliant mind, and he was a schemer and a plotter. And the stories written about Ramos in the first edition had him as kind of, he had the public persona of kind of being a populist type character. And then privately, he was much more, he was much more, I guess, devious, right? He clearly had ulterior motives, and it was really neat just to see like how he tried to achieve his goals, and kind of pull the strings around Malifaux. He was a definitely more of a a manipulative mastermind type. Fast forward to and then Joss was like this silent, powerful Native American type character that was like his one of his right hand guys. Colette Dubois was much sharper too. She was a sharp young lady. So I really liked where they were. Rasputina was like a struggling psychotic lady that she was so broken inside, and she was clearly one of the coolest characters. One of the coolest characters of all time. Fast forward to the second Malifaux second edition, where they actually changed the writers out, and they went different directions with all the characters, and Ramos just comes off as some whiny little dude, like some whiny, conniving weakling, like almost like he went from being like Daniel Ocean to Grima Wormtongue, and that's a crap transition. It's like I get that they want characters to change, but that's just not a favorable leap, whether or not you're a fan of Ramos. Similarly, Joss just became this, like, he was this silent, powerful guy, and now he's just some kind of a whiny dude. I don't know. Plus, he got fat. The Joss and Perdita were like supposed to be physically two of the most beautiful specimens in all of Malifaux. You come back second edition and they're just fat, out of weight, out of shape people. Perdita just looked fat. If you look at all the other masters, they're all on trim spa. They all went super, super skinny. And I don't know. It just bothered me. It bothered me at like a fundamental level. And I couldn't get behind it. And it was sad because, these were some of my favorite characters of all time, like I was saying before. And yeah, it's, it's just sad to see. I guess some people are, and if you like the characters as they are today, cool, good, more power to you. I'm not going to, no knock on you. It's just where they were for me was where I liked them. And I wouldn't mind if they changed them or they progressed the story, but it just seemed like unnecessary jumps and no real explanations behind them. Hey, what's up, David? Hopped in there in the middle of my whole diatribe. But tonight is kind of a diatribe night. Let's see. Mantic is doing a Dreadball what Weird did to Malifaux. However, without the new authors insulting the existing fan base, they're just politely wrecking the rules. That's a shame. That's a shame. That's too bad. I know how much you liked Dreadball. But hey, we got Guild Ball. There's always... And, you can come back to the game and play it and enjoy it at a lesser level. There's a part of me that really does want to come back and build a Malifaux crew and just play a game kind of out of nostalgia. And I nearly did. I nearly bought myself a Colette box because I was like, oh, I really like the new Performer, what they did with the Performer models. I absolutely detest what they did with Colette and Cassandra, though. Holy crap. Did not like what they did with those models. Those on the metal range, those were two of my favorite models. Those were like the reasons why I bought that particular crew, was Colette and Cassandra. I still own metal Colette and Cassandra because I just love those models so much. And I painted them dozens of times. And it just didn't quite. Nowadays, they look so boring. They look so out of place. Let's see. Dreadball's still fine. I meant Dead Zone. That's a bummer. Well, good. You still have Dreadball then. Okay, so we're going to go in with Iraqi Sand. So I'm going to go with the undergarments of this team. It's going to be a warm white. And the client has asked for, rich purple instead of blue. So I figure with purple, I don't really want to do a cool white. I can do this scheme, as I call it, is Aleph white, because I use this for my Aleph in Infinity. See, Dreadball's still fine. Not a lot of cloth on these models. There's a lot of netting and scale armor, that kind of thing. Yeah. I was going to paint the Winterhawk tonight for Wrath of Kings, but whatever. Let's get some ground on this this commission, so we can get it back to the customer, and I can get back to some of the projects I was working on. There we go. And then Mr. Shark. So really all I'm doing is just giving them this little base coat here to start off with. Those are metal Guild Ball fish. Yes, they are. Sakana. And let's go with Jack here. And you just rip through these base coats with an airbrush. I'm going to get the 25 millimeter base insert, fits in the 30 mil base. I don't know if these are exactly 25 millimeter base inserts, but they're Malifaux base inserts, so they're designed to fit in 30 mil round bases. Oh. We'll just shoot the otter here. Oh, don't shoot the otter. Going to get just the Malifaux Teddy Mini. That's cool. Yeah, whatever. There we go. Okay. I think I need a little bit more. Actually, that's probably okay. Now, yeah, I do want it. Let's get a second coat on them. In fact, let's go in with this aged white. Get a little more undertone, because I am gonna for this type of white, I am gonna come in with some brushwork to really bring out the white color. This is also the same, like if you're painting Saracens for Helldorado or even for Saga, this is how I might go about the color scheme. Yeah, so let's get a little bit more color down on these models. So all I'm really going for here is this undercoat is really the warm shadow of the white that is to be on these models. She's also looking a little light. Yeah, gotta say, Angel is one of my favorite miniatures in the entire Guild Ball range. She's so cool. Siren's pretty cool too, but I love these just little. I love the understated minis. I think with just a little bit of character in their face, some of my favorite mini sculpts of all time are just that. Just, you know, people go, oh, she's boring. She's standing still. She's static looking. I'm like, yeah, but I don't know. It just, I love that little subtlety. I love that just little bit of character. I'll show you what I'm talking about here in a second. All right, so here we go. All right, let's go on to white. So I'm just going to go straight from this right up to white, and we're just going to do, because there's still residual Iraqi sand in the airbrush cup, it's just going to blend a little bit. So I'm going to stick, whoa, that's not good. So I'm going to throw some white down. But you don't need to do much, right? You're just going to hit little parts of the model. You just want to show off a little bit where the light's going to land on the white. For larger models, or if I went in with a 0.2 tip, then you can actually do a little bit more with this. But here we go. So staying towards the top of the model, just like highlighting. And just build it up slow. Sadly for him, it's mostly going to be on his pants. This guy's a bare-chested dude. And I'm going to go with, in a rare turn of events, I am going to go with regular metallics on these models. Night all, the net is messing up and my little girl's calling me. Good night. Thanks for tuning in. There we go. There's that. See, it really doesn't take much. You just there we go. Here. All right. Then I'll try to bring Mark on as soon as I'm done with this noisy airbrushing. There we go. Okay. And we need to do the otter. I don't know why I keep doing the otter. Anyway. I think Siren actually has the most clothing on, so. But I'm actually shooting like straight down on the model at this point. Because as you build up white, you want to keep going more and more towards 90 degrees. And just let the white catch on the top. Then we're going to wash these. Well, first we're going to give them a dry brush and then a really, really thin glaze. So we're working with warm whites tonight. You can see the little frantic motion of the airbrush on top of this model. There we go. Okay, let's clean this out. We'll need to buy more gloves. Just about out of gloves. There is a lot more airbrushing in my immediate future because of the next topic here. Let's go ahead and I'm just going to clean out my airbrush real quick. So yeah, Guild Ball on my mind. And my first official Guild Ball commission. I think I'll get a few more. We'll see. I don't know. Our local guys, though, are kind of amped to paint their own Guild Ball. That's kind of cool. I like that a lot. You know, you tell people, hey, you're only fielding 6 models and 8 to 10 in your whole faction. People are going to be motivated to paint. My problem is I want to paint more, but I'm not ready to learn more teams. Nor am I ready to spend the money. I need to, how do you stop your white from speckling? That is indeed a fantastic question, Adam, because that is a very, very common issue with white, right? You know, whites are made. You can make white from 2 different kinds of pigments. Okay, if you're talking like the expensive pigment is titanium dioxide. That's what gets you white in paint. And then you have clays, which are a lot softer, and they don't get you bright whites, but they can get you close. They can get you, softer kind of off whites and grays and that kind of thing. But the issue with white, like regular white, is that the fact that you're firing coarse pigments, and you need that all to stay in suspension as you are blasting air over it, causing it to dry over a tip, and then spitting that at a model. That makes whites like spit and speckle much easier than other colors when you're airbrushing. So what you have to do with white is you really have to be diligent about keeping it thin, and you gotta keep white really mixed. Like, you gotta keep it in suspension. When I did white just a few moments ago, this is Vallejo model color white, and it's already thin enough to spray. And I'm spraying at about 17 psi right now, which is a bit on the high side, but it's good for white. You do want to stay on the higher side, and then you want to thin the crap out of it, even if it is already airbrush consistency. Thin your white and keep it suspended, and then shoot it as quickly as you can. You don't want white sitting in your airbrush, or for that matter, the way I do airbrushing, I don't like to keep any color in my airbrush any longer than I have to. Okay, so let me. I'm gonna toss Mark an invite, see if he's even around. And I'm gonna eat another one of these delicious Thin Mints. Got to get your Girl Scout cookies. All right, there we go. So that's off to Mark. We'll see if he hops on. If not, no big deal, because I got shit to complain about. So, but I'm gonna show you how I work on these whites anyway. So one sec while I eat my cookie. Talk amongst yourself. All right. Now I'm going to do this number. Here's another trick with white. White's very difficult to airbrush. To dry brush. For the same reason. Coarse pigments, that can leave real thick, blurry lines on your model. I'm not going to use that white. I'm going to use an off-white. And I'm going to use Game Color specifically because this is a lower pigment load, so it's going to be a little bit smoother. Downside is I don't know, it's not quite the intensity I want. I may have to just go in with just a regular white. All right, let's do regular white. If I am painting white, I would use the darker gray, layer lighter grays on, the lightest gray on. Yeah, that's a cool white. And yeah, that's a great method for doing a cool white. So what I'm going to get, or my expectation from this, is to get this kind of warmer white here, like you have on this guy. So just a little bit of a warmer shadow to it. And mix in a little water there. Mix this up. Actually, need this. Well, I'm gonna have to move this to make it work, but So the rough outline of what we're doing right now is I'm going to dry brush, then I'm going to, it's not really a wash. This is a little more of a glaze that I'm going to end up doing. And then we'll take it from there. If I feel it needs another highlight, we'll do that. But, you know, these are supposed to be kind of rough and rugged minis, so. Okay. Again, I use a makeup brush for my dry brushing because they're nice and soft, and they have a good, reasonably tight bristle density. And when you're dry brushing, you always do this little number here on your thumb. You're looking to see that you can still make out the wrinkles in your skin. You shouldn't have white filling that in, right? You should actually get the vast majority of the white off the brush. It should be very, very dry, and you should be able to just kind of gently come over it. And what you don't want is you don't want big clumps like that. There you go. Okay. I know you guys watching are all painters, so you guys know this technique. But just in case somebody's watching this on replay or whatever, you do that. The other thing about dry brushing is be gentle. You don't need to you don't need to beat the color into your model. The model will get color. You just got to trust in your process. Right? Even if it doesn't look like you're doing anything, you're getting white on the model. Trust me. Trust me and trust your process. All right. Here's the one that has the most clothing. So she'll see a good amount of this. And you may have to do, you know, a few passes. It's better to do multiple passes than it is to try to glop it on in one go. Because again, your dry brushing is a messy technique as it is. And what you don't want is you don't want to leave brush marks or streaks or that kind of stuff any more than you're going to. Because you are going to leave a little bit of texture, a little bit of brush marks when you're doing this. Dry brushing is the first tip that the GW manager taught me. Yeah, it's usually the very first thing you learn when you're miniature painting, because it's such an easy technique, and well, in theory, it's an easy technique, and people grasp the concept real quick, and it's fulfilling when you. Oh wow, yeah, that's an issue. It's fulfilling when this is the first time you're working on a miniature, and you can see the detail filling in. And you're like, wow, how did how do you get all the details and the scales and that kind of stuff? And somebody teaches you how to dry brush, and you're like, oh, okay, that's how you do it. Like I had a little issue with the white primer sticking on a couple of spots here on Shark. Not the end of the world, though. Okay. That said, yes, dry brushing is a very easy technique to learn, but there is something to be said about doing it properly from experience. You know, I think when you first start painting and you start dry brushing, you're looking so bad for a result that you will cake the paint on. You will do too much. I went through a phase where I was a dry brush snob. and I never dry brushed any of my models. I was like, that's such a terrible technique. Never ever dry brush stuff. And a lot of painters still feel that way, and that's cool. That's how they're gonna paint. And hey, they paint better than I do, so who am I to say that they're right or wrong? I brought it back into the repertoire because it pairs well with airbrushing and glazing. You know, it's a good way to keep some of the sharpness of detail when you do airbrushing and glazing, which is airbrushing and glazing is more about catching contours and really high points of light. Right. I feel washing at this juncture would probably be too much. Unless I went super, super thin, which I might. I still might go super, super thin. I'm worried that the sepia might be just a little too strong, though. I want that contrast in there, but I don't want it to no longer look white. Because if your shadows get too deep, then you're too far away from white and it doesn't look white anymore. Okay. Anyway. All right. Looking pretty cool so far. But I am going to need shadow on these models. So we're going to have to do, okay. Let's do glaze. Now I can do, this is probably still the best glaze in this particular scenario, but I really need to thin it, and I want it to run properly over the model. So I'm going to go with glaze medium. Can you give your top level overview? Why are you dry brushing so soon? You have not painted a base coat yet. I'm confused about your steps. Okay. Yeah, you're right. I haven't painted a base coat yet. But what this is going to do is I painted the undercoat, which is the Iraqi sand, hit it with a over the very fair white highlight, and then I came back and dry brushed the white highlight. So I have those 3 layers kind of sitting like this. I'm going to use the glaze to bring them closer together, and then if I want sharp highlights, I'm going to come back in and paint in an off-white. It's a weird kind of it's a weird kind of recipe. That's actually what I do though for my warm whites. I don't know. That's just, you play around, and that's what works for me. I wish I had a more scientific answer for you, but yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'll show you a little bit how this is achieved. So, glaze medium, and the sepia is going to be really thinned, and I mean really thinned. In fact, I'm wondering, maybe the sepia might not actually do the trick. Might actually have to go with sepia ink or brown ink. Let's go through my inks here. Yeah, I might have to go sepia ink. Yeah, let's do it. Let's go sepia ink. So this is going to be 2 drops of sepia ink in about 7 drops of glaze. Actually, let's try 1 drop. 1 drop of ink, 7 drops of glaze, 2 drops of water. Let's go 3 drops of water. Yeah, 2 drops. Let's mix that up. So if you drop this glaze down and it's thin enough, it's not going to tamper with your color that much. And with the glaze medium, you'll be able to control exactly where it's going. You can pull it off high spots. You can slide it into your deeper shadow. Let's see. Yeah, that looks about right. That's what you want. Okay. And really, that white dry brush is a brace. It's actually it'll stand up to this this glaze. Let's get ourselves a big healthy brush to do this. Okay. So one of the things I'm going to gripe about here while I'm doing this part, because this is the easy part, is I'm going to talk about Ninja All-Stars, okay? Ninja All-Stars, if you back the Kickstarter, it's showing up on doors right now. And it showed up on my Ninja All-Stars showed up on my doorstep last night, which was awesome. So I cracked it open, and so far I'm really, really impressed with the miniature quality. It was to my expectations. It's what I wanted, and everybody reviewing Ninja All-Stars says the same thing. Like, yeah, the model quality is fantastic. But I've been also like following up on the reviews for Ninja All-Stars, and don't get me wrong, everybody's entitled to their opinion. And I'm not saying that, because I haven't even played the game, I'm not even saying that Ninja All-Stars is a good game. I frankly don't know yet. But what I do know about the game, I do know enough about the game mechanics through through my exposure through some beta testing, and also just kind of keeping tabs of things online, playthrough videos, that kind of stuff. So I at least have some cursory understanding of Ninja All-Stars. So I've been watching the reviews, okay? And it's board game reviewers, because Ninja All-Stars is a board game review. And they make a lot of good points about the game, but one of the things they keep harping on is the fact that they think that the dice system is the dice combat system is a mostly pointless system. And at first glance, you think, okay, they're making a really good point. And I'm talking about, some of the major board game reviewers. So you guys probably know who I'm talking about. And you're like, okay, yeah, they're making some really good points. When you see more of the game, though, and I'm just going to say this, for those of us who play Blood Bowl, and understand Blood Bowl, this concept is easy for us to understand. If you don't play Blood Bowl, you may not have ever been really exposed to this particular concept. And that concept is that that matchups are going to be inherently favorable or unfavorable, favorable or unfavorable. But that isn't the end all be all to the combat system and it's not the end-all be-all to the game. And in fact, some of these judgments being made about the combat system, I feel, are unfair and just aren't. They're not. I don't feel like the game is getting a fair shake here, because in order to appreciate what they're doing, you kind of have to step outside the mindset of your standard tabletop gamer, because it is a very unusual concept. And part of it is you don't see this concept in most games. The other part of it too is these are board game players, and so board game players tend to assume things like perfect information, and where the board game player says, okay, well, numerically you don't win in this situation, and therefore it's imbalanced. The miniature gamer works in and through that information. We actually kind of thrive off of levels of imbalance and difference between models and units. If you think about it, right? Here's what I'm getting at. The easier way of saying this. A board gamer, your standard board gamer, is looking at the pieces on the board and saying, and can say inherently, a pawn moves this way, it behaves this way, its weakness is this, and that's all there is to it. A miniature gamer is going to say, okay, pawns are weaker than bishops, but I can actually, through my positioning, through my improvisation, and through other means, I can actually make it so that that pawn can stand up to the bishop. And that concept, that's a foreign concept for a board gamer. Board gamers they usually don't have to worry about positioning. They don't think about fine manipulation, risk mitigation that miniature guys do in order to get around quote unquote imbalances, inherent imbalances. For a miniature game, it's designed to do that. And board gamers that's just not really what they do. So that's a lot of what's going on here with Ninja All-Stars is because Ninja All-Stars is based, uses a lot of the same concepts that a game like Blood Bowl does. That means that there are some inherent model-to-model imbalances, and there are some matchups that are favorable and disfavorable before any decisions have been made. And part of the reason why you play, part of the reasons why you play Ninja All-Stars is working around those matchups that aren't favorable for you, figuring out what else you're supposed to do, and trying to manipulate your circumstances to make those disfavorable situations more favorable, or at least tolerable. Okay? And I can kind of explain this using, I could actually use Blood Bowl dice to explain this concept. So therefore, my bottom line is I'm saying that these guys that are, these big name board game reviewers that are reviewing Ninja All-Stars, I'm saying that they're missing a major point. And it's an oversight that I understand why they're making the oversight. But I'm just pointing out that I think they're unfairly judging the game. And it's just unfortunate because the game may not be great, but it's better than what they're saying it is. Okay, so let me get this glaze on, because these do take a long time to dry. So I need to get these on immediately. You can kind of see the glaze working there, though. You can see what I'm doing. What's nice about it is you are calling out deep shadow, and you're actually getting some transition out of it too, and that's cool. So again, this is a glaze ink mix. For Aleph in Infinity, I would mix black ink, not sepia ink, for this. The other thing this does, kind of by consequence, is now you really get to see a lot more detail on the miniatures, and you get to see where you will be working. Now these glazes take a very long time to dry, so you got time. And if you don't like how they're lining up, like I said, you can always go through and just pick up color and move it. Got kind of like a coffee color going on with these models right now, which is pretty cool. Look at that! Look at that scale armor on Shark there. That's pretty sweet. Now you really shouldn't be doing the face or that kind of thing, but I'm going to do it because I don't want to leave hard lines with the glaze anywhere. I'm just going to follow through where I think I can use that glaze. But yeah, this is a pretty man, they would say. This is actually the same process that like I was saying, I painted my Sagist army using this type of technique. Spray, dry brush, glaze wash, and then highlight. So true highlights would be coming in after this. Trick is going to be figuring out what should be white and what should be purple. But when I don't know what color things are going to be, I take the lightest color and I paint them that color so that I don't have to go back. When I do figure out what's going to be purple, I already have my white down. I don't have to go back and figure it out. So see there on that leg, I can put this down, and I can pull it off, push it into the shadows. But the tops of the leg, I can leave pretty white. The top of the knee here, I can come back and remove most or all of that glaze if I want. And the ink is just going to sit there in the deep spots. And it's going to provide a pretty potent shadow in there. Now, if you're expecting these models to be purple looking right now, you might be freaking out a little bit. Don't worry, it's not what this model's supposed to look like at the end. Yeah, you can see just a lot of shadow. I'm thinking about making a mixture like this with like a black green to use as tattoo paint, and you just freehand with it and it should settle in and blend with the skin behind it or underneath it the same way a tattoo might. It's a theory anyway. We'll see if I can actually make that work. So with this, you just have to be careful that you're not caking too much of it on, because the stuff is going to drip. It's going to run. Hey, what's up, David? Welcome to the feed. You can see the really nice detail coming out on these as I'm doing this. Really nice detail on the models. There, I just did the whole model with the wash just because you can. I'll let him dry. Let's just do salt because we can. Got enough of this left to just hit him with it. And I guess because the client wants purple, salt will have a purple collar. That was too much of this on salt. It's okay. 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 So let's let these dry, and I'm going to explain why, these board game reviewers, why they're wrong about in their criticism of the Ninja All-Stars dice mechanic, okay? So give me a sec, grab a cookie. Grab a cookie for yourself. Grab a cookie, have a drink. I know David's already having a drink. Have a Girl Scout Thin Mint. All right. So these are the dice for Ninja All-Stars. We're going to do this while that stuff is drying. So that stuff takes a while to dry. Anytime you introduce the glaze medium, it's going to extend your working time of your paint. It's going to dry. Okay, so here's the core mechanic of Ninja All-Stars, and here's what the critics are saying about it and what they don't like about it. Okay, so Ninja All-Stars, what you do is, and for all examples here, white will be the attacker, black player will be the black dice. And hopefully Ninja Division comes up with more colors. They probably will. It makes sense. Like you're gonna want these colors, like whatever faction you pick for Ninja All-Stars, you're gonna want dice in your colors, right? So here's what you do. So I shouldn't head to the liquor. Oh no, you should totally head to the liquor cabinet. It's a good idea. Uh-oh, what happened to my feed? Here we go. All right, so you roll those. So what you do is the attacker and defender rolls, and then based on those results, you cancel things out based on opposites. So for example, this is Earth, these little mountains. So the attacker has Earth, Spirit, and the defender has Earth, Water, and Air. Now Earth and Air cancel each other, so you cancel those two, right? Then you are left with some outcomes based on these dice that are left over. And the player who has more dice left over gets to decide the outcome. In the case of a tie, it goes to the attacker, and the attacker will get to pick which outcome of these that he wants. And in this example, you don't want this. You may want this. This is kind of like a push, but it's, if you're trying to do damage, you're going to take the stun, which is Earth, right? And you could have taken this stun or this stun. It doesn't matter. That's how the mechanic works. It's kind of a cool mechanic, but you can see already it's fairly random, right? There are some things in the game that you can do, like you can have affinities that will allow you to re-roll dice and so forth. But here's the complaint. So you're rolling these dice, and they're six-sided dice, and they're like, the first complaint is, oh, well, I could just roll a bunch of six-sided dice and say that ones cancel sixes, twos cancel fives. Yes, you can do that. I happen to think these are pretty. So you could do 1 through 6 and have a chart. But I don't know. I kind of like, this is kind of the fun part, the cool little symbols and all this stuff. But that's a minor part of the complaint. The major part of the complaint is that some models are inherently stronger, or you have models that have higher attack than some models that have lower defense. Or in some cases, you may have models that have lower defense against higher attack. And so the argument that they make is, oh, well, it's a stupid mechanic, because if you're doing this, and let's roll this just as an example. You roll this, and you get that. So, oh, wow, this is a perfect example, right? This proves the point right here. The player in black is going into this battle, this particular combat situation, and they're already determined to be the winner. The argument is they're already determined to be the winner before the dice are even rolled, right? Because numerically, they're going to end up with the spare dice at the end of it. But check this out. Here's one of the counterpoints to that. So let's say the black dice here is Kraken, because he's a big ripped, swole dude, and the little white dice is Angel, right? So I'm judging, prejudging here that the big buff dude versus the petite little lady, that he's going to be the stronger one. Whatever, I don't care. This is just an example. Anyway, so in this example, he rolled 3, she rolled 2. Air cancels Earth. Air cancels Earth, right? He's the winner, right? He has the dice left over. Isn't that cool? Here's the problem with that. This die, this facing here, Spirit, means attacker down. So if he's the one attacking, he just knocked himself out of the game. So to ignorantly say that you are going into the fight, that you're automatically going to win, is flat out wrong. It's flat out dishonest, and the people who are saying that have not played the game. They don't understand that, yeah, to say if you're going in with 3 dice and the other guy's going in with 2 dice, it is fair to say, oh, I have an inherent advantage. I have a huge advantage. Or you can even say that. I have a huge advantage here because I'm rolling more dice than you are. What they're saying is, if you're rolling more dice than the other guy, you're automatically going to win. And that's just wrong. That's a flat earth mentality. You're not looking at the larger picture here. Okay? In Blood Bowl, and in this game apparently, you are going to have mismatched situations, and you're going to have to play to those mismatched situations from time to time. But what do we do as miniature gamers to mitigate that? Well, once again, using our example here, we're miniature gamers. We don't think in terms of, oh, 3 just flat out beats 2, so that's a dumb game, it's imbalanced, blah, blah, blah. We're miniature gamers. We think about, well, if she were behind the guy, she'd get another die. If she had an ally and ganging up on him, she'd get another die. Right? That's part of the reason why we miniature gamers play these miniature games with the understanding that there are inherently bad matchups within the models of the game. Okay? Doesn't make the game imbalanced, doesn't make it a wrong mechanic. It's actually part of the game. It is actually part of why you play the game. And I know, I'm sorry if it sounds like I'm lecturing you guys, but you guys know this. Like, you guys play these games. You know, like, oh yeah, if I'm charging a giant ogre with a goblin, I'm asking for it. I'm asking for trouble. I'm gonna get swatted so hard because that thing is inherently stronger than me. What do you do as a miniature gamer? You figure out, well, where can I get an advantage? Can I just avoid the combat completely? These are things that are like, I don't know. These are like simple concepts for people who don't stick to board games. And to have board gamers review Ninja All-Stars and go, oh, well, the dice mechanic is stupid because you're always going to win. You just need more dice. That is inherently wrong. That's not true. And these guys need to study up on other game systems. You know, it's not, guys, it's not perfect information. It's not. That's why you play these games. And I came across, so there was the very large, visible reviewer who went on a tirade about how stupid this system was, and they thought it was convoluted. And that, you can argue, yeah, you could say, yeah, from a purely simplistic point of view, you could just roll a bunch of d6s. Here, I'll do it just because I don't care. Let's just do it. I got a bunch of d6s around. Let's say, could very well say, here, the blue player is rolling 3 dice, the red player is rolling 2 red, and you roll these and you go, okay, so this 2 cancels the blue 5. There's more blue dice, and the blue player gets to choose between outcome 2, 3, and 6. Okay, yeah, you could totally do that. You could totally do that. And or you could, what one of them was arguing is, why not just roll 2 dice and whoever rolls better wins? Yeah, that's a lot of miniature games. That's a lot of just games, period, right? That's why you do that. The multiple dice mechanic gives you more ability to stack your odds, and also gives you more chances for unpredictable things to happen. Did they need to do all the symbols? No, but the symbols it's part of the aesthetics of the game, and it's part of what I think it's really fun. It looks really nice. Aesthetically, it looks really nice. You're rolling these symbols, and you're like, oh, and you've got these little chibi ninjas fighting each other. It looks really cool when you do that. And so I don't know. I'm not bothered by that. It's pretty. Look at these dice. They're pretty. I don't know. But to say that, there's nothing you can do if you're rolling 2 dice and the other guy's rolling 3, he's inherently going to win. There's nothing you can do about it. That's just wrong. That's wrong, and it's not. It's like they're missing the point. And I get it. You would have to play Blood Bowl. I'll show you with the Blood Bowl example. It's part of the reason why I love Blood Bowl so much, is this right here. Let me let's break out some Blood Bowl dice. Like I said, we got time. I may not be doing any more painting tonight because glazes take a long time to dry. All right, one sec. I'll show you some, Troy, I'll show you some chibi because I think they're cool. Where's my Blood Bowl dice? Yes. Oh, I love Blood Bowl dice so much. Now, Blood Bowl is a bit simpler. Blood Bowl, the other cool thing is the defender gets to roll dice in Ninja All-Stars. In Blood Bowl, only the attacker is rolling dice. So check it out. So here's Blood Bowl, right? In Blood Bowl, only the person throwing the block gets to throw the dice, and there's a number of situations on each of the facings, and depending on the relative strengths of the models, if they're the same strength, so much for letting these dry. I'm like using them. If they're the same strength, then you roll one die, and it's just whatever that outcome is, that's what happens. So, in this case, bam, the defender goes down. If one model is stronger, that model gets the person throwing the attack still throws 2 dice, but that model gets to decide which die is used. That doesn't automatically mean that they're always going to win, for one. And again, for two, you play the game to avoid situations like that or to bring them to your advantage. So that's the point that they're missing, right? If she's going to throw, yes, it's stupid for her to throw what we call in Blood Bowl, we call it 2 die uphill, right? Because she's going to throw the block on this dude, and you're going to roll this, and he's going to be like, well, I could choose between a push or I can knock us both down. Maybe it's funnier if I knock us both down, or maybe I have a skill like block that allows me to stand and she goes down. Yeah, it's stupid to do that in Blood Bowl. There's going to be times when you want to do that, though, because let's say you're cage busting and you need to do that, and you have a reroll, and you're like, you know what? Odds on a reroll are pretty good that I can get a favorable result as I roll coconut and bad. But you get what I'm saying. Miniature gamers understand this concept that matchups are not going to be even all the time. And part of the reason why you play is to make those matchups work in your favor and to avoid the matchups that don't work in your favor. It's a very, very simple thing. It's miniature gaming 101. It's a shame. It's a shame that people that review so many games are going to criticize that concept. Now, granted, it is an unusual concept. If you've never played Blood Bowl, the concept of, oh yeah, before the dice are even rolled, we already know who gets to pick the result. That does sound like, oh, well, you're inherently going to win. Because you are going to win. You are in a favorable situation, and you are going to win a majority of the time. It doesn't mean that that's the end-all, be-all, though. It doesn't mean that that's perfect information, and that's only information in a vacuum. You can't math your way out of a Blood Bowl game. You still have to play it. You still have to roll the dice. Similarly with Ninja All-Stars, and even better in this case, because the defender gets to do stuff. The defender gets to make decisions. Let me show you a cool thing. We're not even painting right now. We slapped a few coats on, and now we're just rolling dice. And Octave's bitching about some dude that reviewed a game. And well, here's the unfortunate part. The guy reviews the game. He's a visible guy. His review, I watched another guy who's almost as big. Well, no, not almost, but he's bigger. He's definitely a bigger channel than this little corner of the universe. He basically just parroted the same criticism, and neither one of them got the point. And that's the unfortunate part. It's like, okay, well, if the powers that be don't like it, oh, I'm not gonna like it. That's crap. Play the games, guys. Play them a few times. Get some understanding behind why some of this stuff works. So watch this. 3 black, 2 white. Let's see how many situations actually work out for the black player. Okay, so here we go. Here's the situation where absolutely no dice cancel. The black player gets to pick the results, and they're going to end up with a stun on the defender. That's not a bad one. Do it again. Okay, here's a really good one for the black player, because those will cancel, and he can pick knocked out, right? Yes, this what I'm showing you is that this matchup is inherently favorable for the player in black. Here's one where there's, where you've got the water and the fire, those all cancel, and the player in the black is stuck with this result, which is essentially a push, which is pretty cool. But you see how, like, even without powers and stuff, the combat system is pretty dynamic. Like, it's not just, you're not just doing a damage. You're not just like killing a guy automatically. That's what you get with a simpler D6, a streamlined system is like, oh, you're alive, you're dead, you're wounded, you're not wounded. This game has repositioning. It has stuns. It has the potential for the attacker to go down. And wrong one, sorry. I really like that potential because that puts some risk to the attacker. And not a lot of games do that. You know, a lot of games just flat out reward the more aggressive player. And they're fun games and whatever, but that's what miniature gamers come to accept that. They come to expect that, okay, if I'm going to be the aggressive player, if I'm going to get the charge, I'm going to have an inherent advantage. That's not always the case, though. If you've been in combat situations, there may be people that are specialized in just dealing with and reacting to attacks. Isn't that what jiu-jitsu is all about, right? Isn't that what some of these martial arts is all about, is taking another person's momentum and using it against them, using their size against them, using their own strength against them. I love that about this. And that's what makes this system cool. You know, you have all these ways to exert influence on these dice. And unlike Blood Bowl, this could be a good or a bad thing, but unlike Blood Bowl, you don't have the, you know, I'm about to have a heart attack because I'm rolling a single die. So anyway, so yeah, that's that's my criticism. That's my criticism of the criticism. It's short-sighted. They need to play the games more, and it's cool. This concept is different, and it's cool. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that that's a cool concept? Are you familiar with it? You know, the here's how the person who has the inherent matchup bonus, how they fare. I don't know. What do you guys think? I think it's really cool and it's really different. And it's not just, the thing is with these guys is they're expecting the guy with the numeric advantage to win because he wins in all the other games. And so it seems even dumber in this game where it's a foregone conclusion who's going to pick the die before they're rolled. They go, oh, well, the guy who's going to pick the die is going to be the guy who wins. That's not right. That's not accurate. And I'm calling them on it, and I'm calling bullshit on it. You know, study up, learn the rules, learn a concept that's different than what you are used to in all your other games. And it's one of the things that I love and hate about Ninja Division and Soda Pop. And granted, I'm a Ninja Corps volunteer, so take this how you will. It's one of the things I love and hate is that they go outside the box and they use these concepts that aren't too common in other games, but are successful in other games. Blood Bowl right there being a huge example. And Ninja All-Stars uses a lot of, they draw a lot of influence from Blood Bowl. It really is the spiritual successor to Blood Bowl, and we know Blood Bowl's coming back out. So this is Blood Bowl with cool looking ninja things and the same campaign mode that Blood Bowl has. So I'm going to show off some minis, some chibi miniatures. All you guys tell me to calm down. Here's what I'm talking about. Here's what I absolutely just love about this game. Like this is, oh man, I forget the names. I don't know the names of the clans yet, but this is like the Air Clan, the Air Shrine, but this is the actual Clan Ika or whatever they're called. And this is the Yajiri. So this is a ranged character. Actually, I think this is actually one of their like named characters. And she's rocking out the bow there. And I just love. Oh man, the style's awesome. You can see they fit better in their basing than the SDE miniatures do. There's no like gap all the way through. So that's cool. I haven't even really broke any of these out yet. I think here's the regular Yajiri for Clan Ika. So this is like the bird clan. They're like the crane, I think. So I would think they actually probably run a few more archers than most other factions, but I could be wrong. Here's their like standard ninja. I think they're called Kaiken. So the Kaiken are like their basic infantry. That's rad. Look at this dude. He's dope. Love it. Oh my god, this is awesome. Look at this. Check out this bird dude. He's a badass. I love this. Like bird guy. Look at that. He's like the I guess he's probably a Madukin, which is like their wizards. More Yajiri. How many come in a clan? Let's see. This has got to be the Kunoichi. Kunoichi are like the scouts. They're often the female chibis. Another Kaiken. Okay, I gotta show this thing off because holy crap, these are amazing. Look at this thing. Holy crap, I gotta paint that. Look at that. That's the Oni, which are basically the big men. Look at that. Absolutely. Just dope. So dope. That stuff, this is just screaming to be airbrushed. Like, look at that model. Like, nice contours. You know, it's not, here's the difference. Like, this is just airbrush stuff or contour stuff, right? You put points of light here, you do it here, you blend it out. I love this style of painting. These are fun and these take paint well. But, you know, if you're talking about doing little, oh, I got to do all the little rivets in the belt and all that stuff. Some people really like that kind of painting. I could take it or leave it. It looks great when it's done. It's just not the most fun experience to paint that kind of stuff. Kunoichi. Here's I think this is the boss of the clan. This is the Chunin. So he's the leader. And you can see he has that dope Daikyu, that bow. Because they're an air-based shrine, it makes sense that they use a lot of ranged attacks. Yeah, they're rocking a lot of Yajiri. So how many? This is Clan Ika. This is definitely going to be one of my favorites. And so let's see. Two Oni, 2 Madukin, 1, 2. Only 2? Wow, only 2 Kaiken. 1, 2, 3, 4 Madukin, 2 Kunoichi, and 2 characters. So how many is this? 2, 6, 10, 12, 14 minis. That's nothing, dude. That's nothing for a clan. And you usually field 6. That's awesome. And that's the whole team. I love that. I love that. Man, I better finish this guild ball so I can paint some of this. This is so rad. Oh man, fanboying hard. Cover the screen, guys. Cover the screen. You know, cover the children's eyes. I'm fanboying really hard right now over this stuff. Let me show you generic. Let me show you a couple other things. I don't care. We're waiting on this shit. It's fine. Just real quick. So in addition to those like named clans, you have generic clans. Generic clans are cool too because you can, in the campaign mode, you start off with basic stat lines and then you just kind of build them up from there. So so all the generic sculpts for the generic clans are the same. This is actually the generic air clan. And this comes with, looks like 2 Yajiri. Here's the Madukin. Sweet. Look at that. Sweet. Kunoichi. This dude here is your Chunin. Looks like some Samurai Pizza Cat influence on the NAS Bird Clan minis. If you guys have a particular clan you want to see, let me know. So let's see. Kaiken. So a standard clan comes with 3 Kaiken, 2 Yajiri, 2 Kunoichi, a Madukin, and a Shonen, which is 9 models. Really sweet. And I think the retail boxes are going to come with these generic clans. And then you just buy, if you want the fancier pre-made clans, you can just buy those separately. But these are the ones that you level up and you give all the skills to. I think what most people are going to do, because they like the other sculpts better, is like what I would do if I'm building my own clan. I would take these Air Shrine guys, and these would be my starting minis. And as they start to gain skills, I would upgrade them to those Clan Ika minis. I think they're rad. Okay, cookie and a drink, and let's get back to some painting. Because I better do that, huh? I better paint something. I'm going to do this white gray. Yep. I'm pretty amped for Ninja All-Stars, though. That should be good times. All right. I need to sneeze again. Hold on. Here we go. Don't sneeze. Don't sneeze. Sneeze, don't tease. Okay. I'm almost out of this glazed medium. I better go get some more. Right back. Good times. I don't know why I have the theme to Good Times. Yeah, the theme to Good Times stuck in my head. It's because Good Times, like we were flipping through channels and Good Times came on the other night. Oops, that's the wrong. Did I get glazed medium? I'm going to be pissed if I didn't. Oh, man. I did not buy glazed medium. Well, let's see what I can do then. All right. Guess I'm off to the store at some point tomorrow to pick up more glazed medium. Okay, so I'm going to apply this very close to white color. And it's an airbrush color, so I'm just going to mix it 1-to-1 with glazed medium. And this is going to form a nice thin paint for which I can highlight. Have you backed the new SDE Kickstarter? I certainly did. In fact, it's still in my cart because I think I'm going to go big. I love the Soda Pop chibi stuff. So I think I'm going to go big on it. This may be too gray. Let's paint a belt and find out. Oh, it's okay. It's just so thin. super thin. But you want super thin with these, because you don't want any hard brush strokes, you don't want hard lines. I'm going to take this and paint in here. They know nothing about it. Good times. I don't know, I feel like singing good times. Daryl Pruitt says the Ronin Ninja All-Star models are very nice. Yeah, I'm excited, man. Can't wait to start painting that. I don't mean to be derailing from my Guild Ball commission here, but yeah, that's going to be pretty sweet. I did get every miniature for Ninja All-Stars. My plan is to paint through it slowly, though. I'm not going to do what I did with Forgotten King, where I blasted through everything. I want to paint up enough for us to start playing, and then slowly start to add the other clans. Or I could even sell, like, amongst my friends, I could sell clans that I don't like. Because that's way too many minis for one person to have. What am I saying? This is me we're talking about. Of course, that's plenty of minis for me to have. I can totally handle that. Being dishonest with myself. So you can see this this glaze going down. Is real soft. The edges are real soft. That's the reason why you do a glaze. You don't want hard, bristly looking paint going down. And in our case, some of this glaze is still wet. That's why I spent all this time tonight just screwing around. Because you can't really work with glazes. You really do need them to dry before you can get to work again. So I'm just trying to make do with these and with our remaining time for tonight. But these are going to transition up to white. Like Angel's top up here is definitely going to be white. In fact, I can kind of just show you the transition here using the boobs. Man, I love this mini. It's my favorite mini, really. In case you haven't heard me say it. I said it like 10 times tonight, how much I love Angel. One of my favorite minis in the whole Guild Ball range. See, I can just kind of build up white without that transition looking too harsh, too bristly. That's the power of glazes, guys. That's why you use glazes, especially on white. Glazes are really nice when you're painting white. It just allows you to put down a nice, smooth coat down. Oh man, what happened there? Why is he like transitioned so weird off of that? I don't know. Let's see. There's never too many. What are these models? Guild Ball. Yeah, this is a fisherman team for Guild Ball. I'm painting a commission here. Still a lot of wet parts to this to that previous layer of glaze. Here's a model with a lot of cloth. You should see it. So you just pick the top of the model and you just kind of feather it out. You just feather your way down. You can see how fast I'm going too. Yes, he has played Guild Ball. Have you played Guild Ball? I've heard good things about the game. Yeah, we've been playing a lot of Guild Ball Anabolic locally, and it's starting to catch fire here. We've got a few of us that have really kind of embraced the game. It's definitely going to become a regular part of the repertoire. And in fact, if you look 2 or 3 videos back, I did a live stream of me and Jose playing a game of Guild Ball when we didn't really know the rules. So one of our viewers popped in and was helping us clarify some stuff. It was pretty cool, actually. Oops, I don't want to do that. So you can see subsequent layers. Let me see if I can get this to focus. Focus. There we go. See how the top of the hood, you're starting to see that white come through. That's what we're going for. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep adding a little bit more white to this and just bring it up. Yeah, Guild Ball is awesome. It's one of my favorite games at the moment. Although, man, so amped to play Ninja All-Stars. That's going to be fun. That's going to be fun for us locally too, Tori, because it is a multiplayer. So you can play up to 4 players. So, and it got campaign mode. So, and I've got all the clans. So I'm going to paint up some clans so that we can start playing. And then it's just going to be a nice, on the regular game night, it's going to be one of those things that we play as a multiplayer. That's quick and, well, reasonably quick. And we get to build up our clans doing that. So, all right. And finally, shark. Not a lot of cloth on shark. Right there, though, the pants. And you just want to stay away from really deep lines like that seam in his pants. Otherwise, the rest of this is pretty easy. Mm-hmm. So yeah, sadly, my Bruce Lee game is going to take a huge seat back because all this stuff looks way more interesting to me than the Bruce Lee game. And Ghostbusters. I might as well just turn around and sell my Ghostbusters. Sounds good for me. Sounds good to me for you to have all the minis so I can play. Yeah. I like having, especially on a deal like that, on the Kickstarter deal, nice to just have a bunch of it so I can host my own league and be like, oh, you don't have to bring anything. Just hope you get the team that you wanted when we play league. Okay. Speaking of which, I gotta let Kingdom Con know that I intend on running Ninja All-Stars at Kingdom Con. I'm going to run Ninja All-Stars, and I may run Wrath of Kings, and I may run a Guild Ball event. But they may already have guys to run Guild Ball, so. Okie dokie, let's go with actual white now. I'm going to take some actual white down. Use whatever's left of my glazed medium. Wow. Yeah, for sure. I got to run and go get. I thought I had glazed medium though. Yeah, the other night. The other night, I know I picked up glazed medium because I picked up a new glacial blue. So I definitely have glazed medium. It's just, it's in there. I'm not worried about it, guys. It's in there. All right. So now we're going up to white. And because this isn't as thick as a normal paint, you know, you don't have to break out your hairline brush to do this. You can just concentrate the white where you want it to land. Now, I know that the hood on Siren here is actually going to be purple, but I'm just going to show you an example of how you can do highlighting with glaze, you know, use glazing techniques to get a nice soft transition and really put the color where you want it and let it blend. And you're just letting the color blend wherever you want to concentrate it. It's really nice to be able to use this kind of stuff. Yeah, not a lot of this model is going to be white at the end of it, but this is kind of how I do the models. Is I'll do the lightest color, the most difficult color often, and do that. Give the model the treatment with it. And then we just take it from there. Because it's so much easier to take this and go, okay, this is purple, this is purple, this is purple, and have the rest of it just remain white. Or in our case, kind of a taupe color. Right? Here's the example I kept showing you guys. So there's Angel, and I'm gonna add white at the highest points of light, just like you normally do highlighting. But see, with the glaze, you don't have to just let it sit there. You feather it out. You pick your highlight spots and you feather it out. And you just have so much better control over things. And your transition is just nice. So see, here's the tank top. And you can see the white's there, and it's really soft. It's white at the very top, and then it slides off into that color below. And everybody knows what it is. I'm just going to do it here on the bandana a little bit, just so you can see. But knowing that this bandana is going to be purple for the client. But it really doesn't take that much at all to do this kind of stuff. You just got to be, you just really, is glazing just about knowing the consistency of your paint and getting used to manipulating that consistency. And it allows you to do so many cool things. like paint white where you normally would be a nightmare to paint white. Like paint white and actually have it shaded and highlighted. And this wasn't even, because I airbrushed it, this isn't even a lot of layers. It's just a couple. Let's do Shark's fancy pants here. So this is the area where most of the light's gonna hit, the center part of this leg. So most of my white is gonna end up there. Top of the shoulder. Shark's pretty sweet. And he has like shark teeth right here on his shoulder pad. You can pick those out. Right now it looks, everything looks more coffee than white, but when you start painting the rest of the details in, you know, the skin, the leather, this is going to look white. But it's going to look like a dingy white, like a dingy, warm white, which is exactly what I'm going for. The key, though, is making sure that these transitions the transitions look natural, that they don't look painted in. A lot of purple right there. That scale armor is dope. He wants mother of pearl scale. It's gonna be tough. I may have to come in with like a pearlescent paint or something. That's a cool mini. Okay, moving on. Mr. Grayscales. So yeah, the next phase of this is actually to go in and do all the faces and the skin. These are fishermen, so they're not going to be that fair-skinned. Siren, the ladies will be a little more fair-skinned than the guys, but the guys aren't going to be all that. They're not going to be all that light skin. They're these are working folk, running around the guild ball pitches and throwing nets and catching people and stabbing them. Good times. Still got good times in my head, because the word stabbing them got me over to the word good times. I don't know. Harpooning them. Okay. Mr. Sakana. Yeah, I really don't know how much white will be on these models after all is said and done. Really just like the underpants and that kind of stuff. The underpants. The trousers. The trousers will be white. They're going to have brown and purple, cloth and tabard and all that stuff. I think Fangtooth is my favorite model from what I've seen. I don't know who's Fangtooth. Haven't seen that model. My favorite model in the Guild Ball range could be Chisel, could be Angel over there. I also really like Honor. Haven't seen Friday. probably a cool mini. Model has cool, or that guy with the little dude attached to his stomach. Oh, Greed and Avarice. That is a cool model. Kind of that Master Blaster type thing. So many little, fine little details on these guys that, you know, just giving them a basic paint job and keeping it clean. There's so much detail here to grab that you don't need to do crazy visual effects or blending or that kind of stuff. You just need to flat out give it a good paint job and they'll look great. So Jack here, he's probably wearing white pants. Everything else is probably not going to be white. I like his little captain jacket there. But he has like armor. Mm-hmm. There you go. Okay, so here's that. This guy's just a cool looking model. His little man catcher. All right. And then finally, back to Kraken. Which is perfect because I'm just about out of that white glaze. Now for the fur, like the fur lining there on the boots, don't use a glaze. Use a regular thin down paint because you want the solids to hang out on along the high ridge texture, and you don't want the paint to be able to run down into the detail there. Kraken's a fun model. Okay. So there we have it. Okay. Any questions or anything while we're still on air here? Yeah. Guild Ball is fun, and you should play it. And it's a good game. That it is a deep game. So if you really get into it, it may end up being your main game. Wow. Okay. I guess I'll just because I can, I'll just paint his little belly in white. Whoop. Little sea otter. And let's say that white is too white. What can you do? You can actually just continue to spread it out so that it goes thinner and thinner over the undercoat. And so you get more of the undercoat color shining through. Again, another real cool thing you can do with glazes because you have all that that extended working time. Okay. All right. There you go. All right. Let's see. No question, I need to give you your gift. Cool. Well, looking forward to it. All right. So I did not paint, sadly, I did not paint who I wanted to paint tonight. The Winterhawk for Wrath of Kings. He would have been fun. That's okay. It's not going to take long to paint that guy. So we started Guild Ball stuff, so you can see. Let me show you again kind of how that white ends up looking. Ooh, focus. Come on, you. You can kind of see it right there on her top. So I know it's not the most crisp thing right now, but that's what you get. You get white that's got good shadow to it, and it's got good transition, and it doesn't look like it's been painted on. So yeah, pretty happy with these results. It's gonna be interesting. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with all this scale mail underneath. Probably go black gray and then highlight it up with a lighter gray. Or I could just do chain, but I don't like chain. The scale he wanted mother of pearl on. I don't really know how I might do that without it looking terrible. So yeah, it's a cool idea, but at this scale, it may be just too difficult to pull off with any sort of effectiveness. So anyway, it is just about midnight, so I'm going to call it here. I got to get up and go to work tomorrow. Once again, check out Guild Ball if you haven't. It's a really fun game. And Wrath of Kings, Wrath of Kings. Yeah, play Wrath of Kings if you want. I like Wrath of Kings. But Ninja All-Stars, don't give up. Scale mail or nets. Let's see. This might be it. This one's probably a net. Under her tank top is scale. So you see that? Oh, look, got the you got the white in a little bit better. So under her tank top is scale, and then she's got kind of netting there. I think that's just an exposed piece of skin right there. Try mica powder mixed with paint. It's not a bad thought. I just think here. Let me show you what I'm painting. The scale under her, and then right here, Shark actually has it. He has the. See that? That's the scale. And I don't think I really want to do. I could paint a pearlescent on there, and then kind of wash it with a really thin teal wash. But I think it's the same thing as just doing off-white, like a pearl white, painting that on. The pearlescent is you're not going to be able to get a good effect with the pearlescent in that small of an area. And he's got the biggest example of the scale. I could be wrong. I don't know. I'm going to have to dig through my paints and see if I still have a pearlescent, because I used to have one. I don't think I have one anymore, but we'll see. But anyway, so yeah, that's going to do it for this video. Sorry I didn't get to do a whole lot of painting, but at least you guys saw some of the fishermen. I'll post more pics of it as I progress through the team. Up next is going to be faces, skin, and then purple. Then once the purple's done, then I've got all the netting and all the detailing stuff to do. So anyway, that's going to do it for this video. Want to thank everybody for watching. Have a good night, guys, and we'll see you on the next one.